Welcome to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl, and Joy and I are two very old friends who love to talk about murder and everything else. Well, I love to talk about murder. Joy's just along for the ride. Joy, do you know, or do you care that you can make an appointment at the DMV or the MVD, as they call it here in Arizona? I don't know why the rest of the world calls it DMV. I think. Hey, you guys, write in.
MVD?
Yeah. So,
Monthly venereal disease? How?
maybe that's what it
MVD?
is.
So it's
I
motor. Wait, it's
vehicle, motor vehicle. I don't know, division, department. I didn't pay
what?
attention. I'm just like, it's all right. I'm
Hello,
not gonna be.
Arizona. What's up?
I know. It's just par for the course. Hey, you guys, write in and let us know if there is some other acronym that is used in your state for your Department of Motor Vehicles or Motor Vehicle Department or
That is
whatever.
so weird. You know what I still call our you're gonna love this, and so will anybody who is from the West Coast. You know what I call our electric company here? I still call it PG&E. Like, oh, I had to pay the PG&E. I'm like, I know it's not Pacific Gas and Electric, but it doesn't matter. That's what I still call it. And it's got a whole different name and everything, but it's like, oh, the PG&E has gone up so much.
Oh my God.
That's just what's easy. So I'm sorry. To me, the DMV is always going to be the DMV.
I know. It's okay. I'm not going to be here for much longer, but yeah,
Oh, you make it
it's
sound
just
like you're going to die. Oh my.
it's just backwards. But so a very good friend of mine who shall remain nameless did not know that you can make an appointment. So when she had to get her real ID, she got there 50 minutes. No, like at least half an hour. So at least 30 minutes before they opened. And she said there were already 50 people in line because
Whoa.
yeah, it was like Black Friday shopping. Like everybody thinks if I get there early, I'll be able to get in. Well, then there were 50 other people that had the same idea. Where I made an appointment and I walked in, and then the appointment line only had 3 people in it. And the other line that for people that were appointmentless looked like a line for one of the rides at Disneyland or something. It wrapped around and wrapped around, and yeah. So just an FYI. And if you all are interested, why I went there is because I went to get a real ID that I did not know I already had. So that was fun wasting my time. But I didn't waste that much time because I made an appointment. So
Just go.
just useful. It is very useful information. I
If
have
you're
not
gonna
I
if you're gonna
I
have a senior moment at the DMV or the MVD, you might as well have an appointment.
that is the moral of the story.
That's right. Wow,
Ah,
Cheryl, that's crazy. So here's the thing with the real ID. They keep pushing back the year on everybody needing a real ID, which is crazy
mhm.
because like some people can't even get to the DMV, whatever, maybe they can't drive or they don't have a car, whatever. But how would you even know if what you had is a real ID unless it says somewhere on it real ID? So
Well,
it's great. I think it's nice that they want you to get this, but stamp on the damn ID that it says real ID. Otherwise, people don't know if they have an old ID, a new ID, a real ID, whatever. It's ridiculous.
well,
Like your
okay,
passport on the very front says passport. So we all know it's a passport. It's true.
well, she
Say
pointed out.
on there that it says real ID.
Okay, I'm going to be transparent because it's apparent from other episodes that I've done that I don't mind being foolish. I don't mind sharing that I am not the smartest cookie in the jar. You see what I mean? Because cookies aren't smart. So my friend did tell me, and she's the one that prompted me to go get it. she was like, it's now July of 2025, I think, that you need to have it, whatever. Anyway, she said there's a star in the corner of the driver's license. Okay. I guess it's a yellow star. And I'm going to be completely honest, at the detriment of my reputation. I pulled mine out and I'm going to admit that I saw a star. It didn't look yellow to me. And hers was yellow. So I'm thinking, oh, I got a generic star. I got a generic star and it needs to be validated by putting some yellow on it. But here was my thought process. I moved to Arizona 3 years ago or something, and I got a new license because I moved here, right? And I didn't think they were doing it back then. I thought it was like more recent, this whole Real ID thing.
No,
I
they
didn't know it was.
started it. Yeah, they started it back then. I remember.
So I just assumed, which you should never do. I assumed that the ID I was issued was not a real ID just because I got it 3 years ago. But she told me the same thing. She goes, "Oh, you already have it." And she said, and I explained that I thought it was only a more recent thing. She goes, "No, it has been going on for about 3 or 4 years, and they just keep pushing out the deadline." So anyway, at least I made an appointment, wasting less time
Hey, you
than I
left the
would have.
house, right? That's exciting.
Yes. Thank you, Joy. Oh,
That's
gosh.
exciting. Anyway, rolling on to updates, guys. On Monday, just to give you a little update on an episode that we did, a judge scheduled 2 trials for Stearns. We did the murder of Madeline Soto. It's the guy that killed her, the boyfriend of her mom. In February, he will first stand trial on dozens of charges of sexual battery of a minor and possession of child pornography. And then in September, he will return in front of the same judge to stand trial on the murder charges. So for those of you, and that's 2025. So for those of you who listen to that episode and who follow that case, that's when we should find out more. Cheryl, you have any updates?
Yeah, and like we were talking about offline, really glad that they separated the 2 charges because it's a lot of evidence for both charges.
Yeah. And it'll be 2 separate juries. So you'll get like a fresh jury.
Yeah. My update is on yet another suspected killer, Brian Kohberger. So his trial date was moved from June 2025 to August 2025, and that is because, let's see, I believe it was because there were concerns of accommodating summer vacation for jurors, because the kids are out of school. They would have to have found childcare, blah blah blah. Anyway, so they moved it to August, and is scheduled to go from August 11th, 2025 to November 7th, and November 7th of this year, so right around the corner. This is dropping on the 4th, so a few days after this. They are going to argue motions challenging the death penalty. Oh. So that's Brian Kohberger. And then Joy and I were talking about the Delphi case where Richard Allen is currently on trial. So as of the recording of this, the trial has been going on for a couple of days. So we won't veer off onto that. All I can say is I hope he gets a fair trial. I want justice for the 2 girls, Abby and Libby, but I also want the man on trial, Richard Allen, to get a fair trial.
We haven't done an episode on that yet, but I'm sure we'll be able to get Cheryl to do one.
Yes, I will do one. I think I'll wait to find out the outcome. But Joy, I went and looked at other comments on YouTube and whatnot, and I am not the only one who thinks that the state's case is very there's a lot of holes in it. It doesn't seem beyond reasonable doubt. The trial is still going on, so we have to reserve those comments, I guess. But it doesn't seem like it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And so that's, if he's guilty, I want him to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, not just some shady, rickety stuff going on. So,
Cheryl, did I ever tell you once I was on jury duty for a vehicular manslaughter case? And I was literally, it was 2 weeks before my daughter was born. So I was like 900 months pregnant. I was as
ugh.
big as a freaking house.
What did you?
I,
I don't remember you telling. You
yeah,
didn't tell me
I
this.
remember they explained to us in the jury box, like, it was downtown Portland. They were like, you're going to have to raise your hand if you need to stop to take a break to go to the bathroom. Well,
Oh my
it
God.
was 2 weeks before she was born. I was peeing at that point in the toilet every 20 minutes, in my diaper like every 8 minutes. But then I had to go to the bathroom a lot because I had to like dump off the diaper. I mean, it was a complete
Oh
disaster.
my God.
And I couldn't really like go in front of people because the jury box is very small. It was like a whole disaster. Let me just tell you. Also, not only that, I remember saying, I feel like I should get out of this jury duty because I'm due any day now. And they were like, no, sorry, that doesn't get you out. And I
Wow.
was like, how does that not get me out? Like,
That's
I was
that's
so miserable.
oh, I bet.
Miserable.
That's why they have alternates. So somebody drops out suddenly. But that has got to be, I thought about that. It's so
Yeah.
funny you bring this up. I have thought about being on a jury, and I thought, I'm going to be so embarrassed about the amount of times I have to raise my hand to go to the bathroom. The alternative is to wear a diaper, but then you're sitting there with a soiled diaper, and that's got to
Yeah.
smell.
Not only that,
So,
I had to eat like every 2 minutes. So I'm like, every time I'd run to the bathroom, I'd like take a bite of my granola bar and like sit in the toilet. You can hear my snack pack opening while I'm sitting on the toilet in public restrooms. It's just so depressing and horrible. I was like,
oh my
this is
God.
and snowstorm that time in Portland, and I remember having to take the bus downtown. Remember, you can't get off a bus because you have to pee, but it was snow. There was snow everywhere. It was just awful.
Oh my God. Well, so what was the verdict? And was it beyond a
It went
reasonable
to a
doubt?
mistrial after the second day. So I
Because you had
made
to
it
go to the
through.
bathroom so often?
Yeah, I made it through 2 days of this, like being in the jury box. And I have to tell you, I had no idea. I can't even tell you what happened. I just remember them saying, like, at one point we went into a side room and the foreman goes, every time we stand up and walk in and out, he goes, I'm afraid you're gonna have that baby. And I was all, thanks a lot. I am too. And then we went in the side room and they go, okay, you can all go. And they didn't
And
tell.
you
And
were
I was
like,
like,
thank God.
why? I know. I was like, why? What? Where? What's happening? I remember
Uh-huh.
thinking, I wish I was at work because I was still working. I worked up until
Oh
she
my
was born. It was
God.
awful. Anyway, rolling on to shout outs. I have a shout out today. You're going to love this. It's for the Target company and store and whatever. I don't know. They have like a sporting brand called like All Motion or All in Motion or Motion All in or Motion in All. And
Or MVD.
it looks like 3 arrows or 4 arrows kind of stacked up. I don't really know. Anyway, they have these leggings that are buttery soft and so comfortable. And I bought them and they come all the way up. You can tuck them under your bra. That's how tall they are.
Oh, I
And so
hate
I
that.
don't have to pull them up every minute. I only have to pull them up like every other minute. Because eventually they don't roll down, but they do come down. But
Right.
because I'm pulling them up and tucking them, they don't fall off as easily as other leggings. So I just want to say thank you to the Target people for thinking about making leggings for people who struggle with pants that roll off. What about you, Cheryl? You got any shout
That's
outs?
awesome. That's so funny. We both have our shout outs are related to stores because my shout out is to the grocery stores that do pickups. Now, I don't know how long ago this started. Somebody I worked with said she's been doing it for a long time. I only started doing it since she told me about it, like within the last year. But that's where you can order your groceries online and then you pull into a designated area in the parking lot for pickups, pull your car in, get on your phone, tell them you're there, put your parking space number in there, and they wheel out all of your groceries, put it in your car, and you're off. And so the hardest, the most labor intensive part of it is getting it from your car to the house and putting it away. But
You don't even have
I
to get out of your
do
car at
love
the
it.
grocery store.
No, they come out. You don't have, do you have this there where
I'm
you
sure
live
we
out in the
do,
woods?
but I'm sure we do,
Oh,
but I'm not
you
lazy.
like to go in. But here's the thing. So I just went there a couple of days ago and I'm driving away and I'm at the stoplight and Callie can come with me. Um, and I'm thinking, I wonder now there's a minimum $35 order in order to be able to just pick up your stuff. And I that's you're gonna probably meet that, right? I mean, easily if you
Yeah.
only go like once or twice a week, once a week or twice, once every 2 weeks. So that's no problem meeting the minimum. And but I'm sitting at the light going, this is such a fantastic service. What do they get out of it? Like it's a fantastic service, but I'm just wondering what they get out of it other than the $35 minimum, which is nothing. There's no
Does
service charge.
it cost you extra?
No, if you order below 35, then yes. They charge you a $5 service fee. But like I said, if you're only gonna order one thing or whatever, you can just run in for that. But normally you're gonna spend $35, no problem.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just thinking, I wonder what they get out of it. Just is it just out of the kindness of their hearts that they want to make life easier for some of us lazy people? Um, or what it is, but yeah, it's fantastic.
That
That's my shout
sounds
out.
pretty fantastic.
Yep.
Well, Cheryl, I also have a shout out for one of our listeners, but I am bringing back letters from our listeners this week. And it comes from my friend Tara's sister, Lindsay. Lindsay's also my friend. So I can just say my friend Lindsay. But
That's right. Yep.
anyhow,
Mhm.
um, she posted a letter on Spotify. So thank you, Lindsay. And this is what she said. She goes, "This is kind of a joy dating funny." Oh, she posted it on our dating funnies episode all the way back from season one, which was like, I think, our ninth episode or something like that. So it was like a while ago. And she said, one evening I borrowed one of my sister's sweatshirts. I think it was blue, possibly Golden State Warriors sweatshirt. And you, which is me, Joy, Lindsay, and my boyfriend at the time we're talking. I wish I knew who my boyfriend at the time was because that would be interesting. When very calmly you said, "Nice nipple, Lindsay." And what I didn't realize was there was a hole in the front of my sweatshirt. So for the entire conversation with you and your guy, one of my nipples had been showing through because I had nothing on underneath. So thank you,
Oh,
Lindsay, for that story. That's so awesome. One, I don't remember that story. Wow, I wish I did because that's such a good story.
that is hilarious and embarrassed. I feel embarrassed for her. That is
No,
awful.
right?
And I
Poor
love how you
Lindsay.
just called her out on it.
I know, I love it. Right while we're sitting there talking to her. And also, Lindsay was probably only like 18 or 19 at the time.
Oh, yeah, no kicking under the table or anything subtle. You just call it as it is.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Anyway, thanks, Lindsay. I'm so excited that you're listening to our episodes from season one.
That's so cool.
I know. For those of you who are new to this podcast, we did an episode back in May of 2023. It's episode number 18 of season one called Pet Peeves. And so if you want to go back and listen to it, it's very long, it's very rambly. Back then, we didn't pay that much attention to how long we were talking or to the finer arts of editing. We were using a completely different editing software back then or and recording platform. But this week we are back with round two of pet peeves. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you really quickly a list of Cheryl's pet peeve list. She had a list that was twice as long as mine. And then I'm going to read you my list from the first episode we did. And then we're going to go through and take turns and talk about the things that drive us bonkers. All right. So Cheryl's last list was people saying on accident instead of an accident or
No, by
by
accident.
accident. She doesn't like Jimmy Fallon. She doesn't like crazy drivers who merge and cut in front of you and then slow down. She doesn't like price tags and barcodes that don't come off easily. She doesn't like scissors that are packaged in hard plastic and hard to get out. Movies that are 3 hours or longer, junk mail, shopping carts with a wonky wheel, static electricity, people who don't pick up their dog's poop, and people standing too close in line, and general assholes. So that was Cheryl's list. My list was other people in my kitchen using my kitchen to cook, other people messing around in my laundry room with my laundry and doing their laundry, people who say anyways or supposedly, people who don't know the correct spelling of and there and using them out of context, people and children on iPhones or iPads at restaurants instead of interacting with their family members and or dates. And the last thing was just general clutter. So that gives you a little idea of our control issues and our mental capacities and where we are with the things that drive us crazy. So, anyway, I'm going to let Cheryl start out with pet peeves number two.
Yeah, because there's no shortage of pet peeves we've discovered because
Exactly.
we went back to make sure we weren't duplicating any of our pet peeves from the first season. And lo and behold, no, I just have more pet peeves.
Yep.
So Joy asked me to put this in order of least to most annoying annoyance. So I personally have to say these are all equal opportunity annoyers. They all annoy me, but I tried to put it in the order that she asked for. So my number five is, so I mentioned it before. I'm of a certain age, and I have tried to I had to figure out my hormones. And hey, any guys listening out there, people hear hormones, they only think of women. But I will tell you, the hormone specialist that I'm going to, uh, Carrie. Hey, Carrie, love her. She said it's very important for men as they get older to have balanced hormones as well, particularly for brain health. So there, that's my PSA for today. Anyway, in discovering all of these supplements and medications, and I'll spare you what I have to take everything for, I've discovered that sometimes when you're given a medication or a supplement to combat whatever risk you make, whatever risk is involved with said medication or supplement requires another supplement to supplement that supplement. And I am taking so many supplements, I might have to buy a bigger days of the week pill box. Um,
Whoa.
but that is what happens, you guys. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So write in with your experiences. But for this medication, it might do this. And so to mitigate that, you have to take that supplement with it. And I went to see her a month and a half ago, and she told me that, and I did nothing. No, 2 months ago, around my birthday, I was like, my birthday gift to myself is to ignore my doctor, and I'm not going to take all these extra. I'm already taking a lot, all these extra supplements. Then
Right.
they called and they wanted me to go back in, and she discussed it again. And I told her I felt like I was going to the principal's office because I was delinquent in my homework. And so she's like, I'm just trying to help you not have a stroke. And so those were the only words I needed to then take three more supplements.
Oh,
Um,
God.
yeah, so that's my pet peeve though, is needing a supplement for your supplement.
Wow. I'm not there yet. It's probably because I'm younger.
Thank you, Joy. Oh
Wow.
gosh.
So I'm going to start my list out on round two of pet peeves. And the number one thing on my list is spitting. People who spit on the street
Oh, so
gross
gross.
me out, and I don't understand it. And I will say, okay, I get like if you have a cold or some kind of congestion and you're running or walking, and you're doing exercise or whatever, and you might need to do a discreet little spit to the side. But people who get out of their cars or they're walking into the grocery store and there's people all around and they just feel
Oh,
like they have to spit, to me, it's so nasty. And what is that? And I find that the majority of people doing this are men.
and yeah, I've never seen a woman
What
do it. I'm
what
sorry.
is it? What is the
I,
thing with spitting? Do men just have an excess of like saliva?
I guess it's what I don't know about you, but do you look down? I look down a lot when I'm walking because I want to see what I'm going to step on, and I cannot stand seeing a glob of mucus. We call it gullah gullas in Hawaii, but
Ew.
your gross mucusy saliva spit
No,
on the
it's so
sidewalk.
nasty.
Like, why? Yeah, it's like,
I
why?
don't
Can't you
know.
just get a tissue, or can you, I don't know, do it over a trash can if you
I
have to
don't
do it
get
out in
it.
public, but can you get to a bathroom
Or
first or whatever?
or I have a great idea. Put a tissue in your, remember back in the day, like, and I mean back in the day, like probably in like the 30s or 40s. And before, men and women carried handkerchiefs that were made out of cloth and then you would wash them. And if they
Mm-hmm.
had like a runny nose or some food on their face or whatever, they would pull it out of their pocket. They would discreetly blow their nose or whatever, and then they would tuck it back in. And it was the precursor to the Kleenex. So
Yeah.
get a fucking Kleenex, put it in your damn pocket, or when you go to the toilet, take some toilet tissue, wrap it up in a little, like fold it up and stick it in your pocket. And then if you have to spit, put it in there and then put it in the trash. Like,
Yes, I
what
don't
the,
understand it.
ugh.
It is, I am sorry, but I am going to be sexist. And it is men. I've not seen a woman do that. I have never seen a woman do that.
I
I
mean,
can up you. I can.
I have spit out of the window of the front of the car and had it hit the back window.
I thought you said it. I thought you were going to say it just boomeranged and came right back at you.
No,
Why
God,
would
it's
you
so
spit out the window?
gross.
I have never spit out.
Well,
It
sometimes, if you are sick or something, and then you have an excess of phlegm in your throat, and yes, I know it's not pronounced
phlegm.
phlegm, but it's spelled phlegm, and so I like to say it that
Yeah.
way. Anyway, sometimes you have to get rid of it because I don't know, it's weird.
Well, what about this tissue you were mentioning?
Well, if you get in my car, no joke, you will see I have on hand at least 1,200 packs of brand new unopened tissue specifically for this reason.
But you chose to spit it out and
This
have it
was
come
back
back
in
on
the
your window.
day before I bought said tissue.
Can I up you one on the gross spitting?
Mm,
Can I?
Is
It's
it on
super
your
gross.
list?
No, I just want to tag onto yours. It's because
Okay.
it's a good, yours is a good pet peeve, but I have a really gross story. Can I tell a gross story? If you don't want to hear a gross
Ah,
story,
let's hear
then
it.
fast forward. So I was at the
I
gym
love
once,
gross stories.
a long time ago in a land far, far away. I was at the gym and
I
I
love
saw
it.
this dude. I saw this dude sitting on one of the machines, and he proceeded to take his finger and hold
No,
one side of his nose.
no.
He held one side of his nose and he
Ugh,
blew like he was blowing
no.
into a tissue, except there was no tissue in sight. So that booger went
God,
airborne and wherever it went. That has got to be one of the
yikes.
grossest freaking things I have ever seen a human being do out in public.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
there.
that's a great story, Cheryl. Thanks.
I hope nobody was
Ugh,
eating.
yikes. All right, roaring on, Cheryl. Let's hear your
Okay.
second pet peeve.
Okay, and I'm sure that everyone's going to agree. This is nothing new. I'm surprised I didn't have you or did not have this on our season 1 list. It is those automated phone trees when you call a company. That
Yeah.
I've tried to bypass. They've gotten wise to the people that you used to. If you just press zero, 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 you just kept pressing it, it would like trip it up, and then it let me transfer you to a
Yeah.
representative. No more. This is what you get when you try the zero trick. I'm sorry. That prompt is not recognized, or it's not one of the options, and then you go right back to the beginning, and it's like, if you have the patience of a saint and can hold on, if you would like billing, press what, if you don't have the patience, you can press 3, and a representative will call you back in the next 72 hours or whatever.
Oh
And then,
God.
when I've tried that, you won't lose your place in line. Someone will call you back when it's your turn. Never got the call. So now
Yeah.
I just stay on patiently, but can we get an amen on those freaking automated phone trees? And there are some that are crazy. They have so many levels and so many branches to them.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Also,
Can I
the
just
ones that loop, and then you get stuck in the loop and you can't get out. Where I'll
oh
do this and say customer service, and they'll go, please press 3 for billing. Please press 4, and you're like customer service. I'm sorry, we did not get your response because you didn't
exactly,
tell them that you wanted billing. Instead, you said
exactly.
customer. Oh man, it's so crazy.
No, and then you get to billing, and it's like, if you're calling about your last bill, press 1. If you're calling to talk about a future bill, press
Oh
2.
God.
If you have a question about your bill, press 3. If you want to talk, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
just give me the
And
billing.
for those of you listening who don't know, Cheryl and I actually met because I was a call center manager and she was a supervisor. So we've worked in this industry for years. And so we know a healthy amount of like
Ugh,
everything. We know about phone trees. We know about recordings. We know about loops. We know about cues. We know about stats. We know about all this stuff. So we know about phone switches. And I mean, so we know about service level. And so it's annoying to us, especially because this is what we did for a living and what we got paid for.
exactly.
Oh my
It's
God.
just, we've gone off the rails with the phone trees.
I
Just
know. You know what my favorite is? And you're gonna roll your eyes, but I love when somebody answers and you have no idea what they're saying. It
which
is
is all the time.
it's so funny because I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, could you
Ah,
repeat that?" And they'll repeat it and you go, "Could
it's
you
the
tell me
same.
that again?" I'll be like, I don't want you to think I'm being rude, but could you say it another time, please?" And they'll say it like 18 times and you still have no idea what they're saying. And
Yeah.
then sometimes I'll go, "Can I talk to someone else?"
Oh
Like
God.
it's so awesome. I also love when they
Oh.
say, thank you for calling Verizon. My name is Schlefferflim. And you're like, what? I'm sorry, what did you say your name was? Schlefferflim. And you're like, oh, oh my God. Thank you, Jessica. I'm sorry, did you say your name was Jessica? And they're like, Schlefferflim. And you're just like, okay. Thank you, ma'am, sir. Like, I don't know what's happening. Anyway. Okay, my next pet peeve is dirty fridge and stuff out of place in my fridge. Okay,
Oh God, we're
I
back to the household.
back to the kitchen. So there's a couple of things. One is I have a clean fridge, and that means that there's no crumbs or crusty things on the shelves and nothing like you can see through all the shelves and also everything has a place
Ooh.
in my fridge and I don't like opening the fridge and finding like a liquid on the wrong shelf or the wrong cubby. I don't like finding bread on the wrong shelf. Bread goes on the third shelf. All the condiments go in the door. All of the vegetables go and one or two of my like drawers have broken and I never replaced them. So I have very unique storage procedure with my fridge, but everything has a place. And when I open the fridge and it's out of place, I have to put stuff back in the right place because
Well,
I
that's
don't,
'cause
I
you
don't
want to be
like,
able to have your eyes closed, or when you don't have your
yes.
contacts in,
If
and be able
Stevie
to reach
Wonder,
in,
yeah, if
and
Stevie Wonder
you need
comes
to.
over for dinner, I want to be able to direct him to exactly where the sriracha is.
You know what? Now, is this a pristine refrigerator a compliments of Maria?
No, no, this
Her
refrigerator
cleaner,
OCD is all on
all
me,
yours.
all on me.
Okay.
But to me, the hardest thing in the world is going to someone's house, opening the refrigerator, and everything is like just thrown in there, like with no rhyme or reason. My brain like does a small pop, and then I like have to go and it's awful. And when you open
You-
someone's fridge and it's not only cluttered and disorganized, but also there every space is full and it's dirty and you can't see through the shelves, then I have a hard time even like staying at that house for very long.
you have a meltdown. Well, you would be very triggered by mine. It's not full, it's not cluttered because I hardly have anything in there, but I have like certain shelves that I just naturally put certain things on. But I will have to admit that there's a little bit of whatever on the shelves, like where you have your condiments on the door. Like there's probably a ring or two, and I hate it. Like I would like a pristine refrigerator. But just as I feel about cleaning the rest of my house, I don't like to do it because I know that it's not going to stay that way and I'll have to clean it again. So why clean it right now? I can go a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Like, because here's the thing: when I
I clean
clean
as
my
I go.
place,
I
if
clean
I
as
clean clean my floors, as soon as I see a leaf come in from outside or whatever, it's like I'm so like frustrated. And so in order to just kind of get over that, I just start ignoring it, or else every little lint will bother me. So
Interesting.
I couldn't keep my fridge that clean. It would drive me nuts. As you're an attestment to being driven
Right.
crazy about your fridge. Oh my God.
Okay, Cheryl, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is, drum roll, please, unsubscribing to shit that I didn't subscribe to. The end. I think I've mentioned this not as a pet peeve officially on season 1, but I think I have mentioned it somewhere in one of our episodes because um, I'm really annoyed. All this stuff pops up in my mailbox, and you get these spam calls. And even if you block the number, they have what's called robocalls. So it's not even coming from the same phone number all the time. So you could block that one phone number, and it'll just go to a different number from these spammers. But the mail, I'm just getting email from companies. Now, it's very easy. It takes a nanosecond to delete it. I get that. But sometimes I want to just take care of it properly, like pulling a weed out from its root. So I scroll down and I unsubscribe. But so my pet peeve within this pet peeve, it's a double pet peeve. One, that I have to unsubscribe to something I never subscribed to. Number 2, when you go down, sometimes you hit unsubscribe and it says you have been unsubscribed. If you feel like changing your mind, just let us know. And other times you click on unsubscribe and then it asks for your email. And I'm like, you mofos are emailing me this shit. And I have to tell you what my email address is to unsubscribe. That is next level BS. You sound like you are not that bothered. Do you not have to go through this?
I don't have this problem.
Why?
Well, first of all, I'm not really subscribed to very much.
I'm not, Joy, are you listening to me? I'm having to unsubscribe to stuff I have not subscribed to.
I'm
So
not
I'm getting,
subscribed to anything that I want to unsubscribe from. You mean
it's like getting junk mail in your
oh,
regular mail.
see, I like getting junk mail.
Oh God.
I love getting mail, period. Doesn't matter if it's
Why?
email or if it's like snail mail. I just love it.
You,
I love that
you love,
somebody's taken the time to send me a glossy paper and then
and
I
you,
recycle it. I
and you
also
don't
love
mind
when I
getting,
get emails because sometimes I get coupons.
oh, you're one of those people.
Well, and then I can use it for 15% off.
Even if it's a place that you've never gone to or will never go to.
I might want to go there. Like
Oh
just the
God.
other day, I got an email from Groupon and I got excited because I was like, maybe they have some good Groupons. So I never buy Groupons, but I went to Groupon to check out things. You know, you can buy like gift cards from Groupon. You can pay for
Yeah, but this
travel
was,
events. You can go to
I'm
concerts.
not, yeah, but this is not as generic. Well, I mean, as Groupon, this is just like random lawn companies and whatever. I don't even bother looking at what it is. I'm
Oh,
just saying,
huh,
if I did not seek your service, if I did not go to your webpage
right.
and subscribe, you
It's
should not
because they
make me
sell.
unsubscribe.
It's because they sell your email address.
Well, that's
Like
another
when
pet
you
peeve.
click on cookies, those people are basically harvesting all your info. The fact of
Well,
the matter is it just means
oh,
you're very popular.
which no, which by the way, I listened to Bridger Weiniger on I Said No Gifts. He has a very funny podcast, and
Hmm.
he said, so I listened to him, and he's absolutely right. You know, when you go to a web page and it says has a cookie policy, and then it says accept, decline. He was saying, he was talking to one of his guests, and he said, I did not realize all this time that I could actually click on decline. So I was like, neither did I. I thought if you did decline, you couldn't get to the page. You can click on decline, everyone,
Oh,
or
sure.
just X out of the box. And so that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. See, you learn something new every day.
That's
All
right.
right. Well, roaring on to mine. Guess what? You're going to love this one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I cannot stand waiters that cannot pronounce the items or know what the specials are and can't tell me what the items are on the special list. If you work at a restaurant, you should know how to say quesadilla. You should know how to say sashimi. You should know the correct pronunciation for bruschetta, which, by the way, it's bruschetta. Don't pop up at my table.
Bruschetta?
No, it's bruschetta at an Italian restaurant and say bruschetta because that's not how it's pronounced. And and you should know how to pronounce gochujang. Don't make me correct you. You work there. I swear to you, the other day we went somewhere and asked about the oysters. And she said, I
Oh.
have to go find out. And it was like, you work at this restaurant. Oh, the other thing is if you're talking about wine and I'm asking you questions, learn it takes very little. It's called homework. Learn about the products that are on the menu at the restaurant that you're working at. So learn how to pronounce all the names for the wine. Pinot Noir is different from Pinot Grigio. One is red, one is white. Learn the difference. Learn about the grapes. Learn what makes a white wine, what makes a red wine a red. I know a lot about food and I don't want to go there and have you say, tonight we're having a quesadilla with chicken. I'm like, what the hell is a quesadilla? You know?
Wait, can I ask what was the question about the oyster?
I don't remember, but it was I think it was like if they were on the half shell or something like that. And it was like, I don't know. And I was like, God. And then literally a week later, I went to a place and the guy couldn't pronounce the name of the wine that was on the menu. I can't
Oh
remember
God.
what the wine was, but he said something that was so egregious that it made me cringe. And I was like,
Do
so
you ever
learn
correct
how to,
them? Are you
no,
ever a Karen? Okay, good. You're
no,
not a
because
Karen.
but like for example, I went to a restaurant and they had sambal. It said blah 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 sambal and this, and I was like, oh, I was like, is this like an Indonesian sambal? I was like, do you guys make it in house and blah blah blah. And the waiter was like, literally looked at me like I was speaking a language that was completely foreign. And they said, I don't know. And then they never said, I'm gonna ask
They should-
I'm gonna ask the kitchen. It's literally an Indonesian chili sauce or chili paste, and it's
no,
made
but
from shrimp paste and chili peppers, and it's like the Indonesian version of sriracha. I,
no, but
I,
I love that they didn't, because that's like when customer service 101. If you don't know the answer,
go find
it's
out.
say, yeah, go find out. If you know, and just admit you don't know it. Don't try to fake your way through it and make up some shit. Because when the
Well,
dish comes to the table and it's nothing like you described.
yeah, it makes me not want to eat at that restaurant because I realize that they hired somebody who is just willing to work that shift and they know nothing about what they're.
No, okay. I beg to differ, and I'd like to just argue for the other side. I think it has to do with training as well. So
Well,
it's on the
I'll
restaurant.
just say I worked at an Italian restaurant in the Napa Valley in Calistoga for years. And anybody listening to this, probably if you know me, you also worked there because everybody I know worked there at some point in time. Anyway, um, bless his heart, I worked with a guy who I also went to college with, who was a close friend, and he was so funny. One day, someone said, "Oh, what is a Bosco's latte?" It was or cappuccino, and he looked at the person completely deadpan, didn't even miss a beat, and he goes, "Oh, it's basically a coffee drink with foam on top, and then it's sprinkled with oregano." And the person goes, "Ew, that doesn't sound very good." And he goes, "Yeah, it's not one of our more popular drinks." And I had to go, because nobody in their right mind would sprinkle oregano on a latte or a cappuccino.
Right?
You know what? He totally went with it. And the person didn't order the drink and we moved on. But
Yeah.
at least he tried to pass it off like he knew what he was talking about. So anyway, that was my number three. What is your number four?
Oh, and I think you and I have spoken about this. I think I cannot stand the smell of cigarette smoke. It's more than a pet
Oh,
peeve. I think it's more than a pet peeve because if I am out, let's say in a backyard or back patio or whatever, and everyone has the right to stand outside their place and smoke, but if I smell it, it like actually makes me angry. But thankfully, not here. Here, I have not had to deal with it. I'm just saying in general, I
and
cannot
guys, if
stand
you
the
can
smell.
hear that little whining in the background, just so you know, that's Cheryl's roommate, Callie. She's probably locked her in a closet or something.
No, she
Um,
also doesn't like the smell of cigarette smoke.
yeah, no, it's not her roommate. It's her dog. And she actually hates the sound of my voice. She does that whenever she hears me.
And she's deaf, so that's really saying
Oh my
something.
God. You know what's funny? I actually enjoy the smell of cigarette smoke, and I think it's because I used to be a smoker.
I thought you said you didn't like it, but you like the smell of
I
weed.
don't like it on someone's person and coming off their breath, but I don't mind it wafting by on, like,
Ew.
you know.
Oh, and let me just expound on that. I don't like it wafting in the air. I don't like it in someone's hair. I don't. Oh, I'm
Don't
Dr.
like it
Seuss.
here or there. I don't like it anywhere. I do not like cigarette smoke. I am. I do not like it, Sam. I am.
Yeah, I don't. In on the clothes,
Oh
anywhere.
my
I don't like it. Turns my stomach.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Ugh. No, but it makes me angry if I'm in my own space and your cigarette smoke is invading my oxygen.
Yeah, I don't like it when I'm driving and and the person next to me has their window down and I have my window down and it comes in my car. But
Or on the beach where you're
see, I don't
enjoying
mind it
nature.
on the beach.
No, you're enjoying nature,
But
the
I don't
waves
like
crashing.
stores. I don't like stores that have designated smoking areas right next to the entrance because when you walk in and out of the store as a shopper,
Ew.
you also have to die of secondhand smoke inhalation on the way in and out. And it's like, make
Who
your
has a smoking section right outside the door?
Target, Walmart, all those big box stores,
Really?
when I worked for Comcast, they had a designated smoking area outside around on the back end of the building or somewhere else. And so when patrons came in to like pay their bill or whatever, it was nice because you weren't met with like a bunch of, because the other thing is cigarette smoking is dirty. The ash makes the ground dirty. It gets on your shoes, it gets on people's clothing, and then you track it in and out of the building. So, and
Mm.
then the butts fall out of the trash can when the wind picks up. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know if anyone listening to this is a smoker, but let's face it, smoking is just a dirty habit. So
Yeah.
there.
No offense, sorry to any smokers, but I really can't stand the smell.
All
So
right.
there.
Well, rolling on to my number 4. You're going to love this one. Okay. When you go into a public restaurant or airport or gas station or whatever, and you go into a toilet and you sit down and you have relieved yourself and then you reach down and it's one of these industrial sized toilet paper dispensers and you pull the toilet paper and one square breaks off, then you reach for another and another square breaks off, and the next thing you know you have 35 tiny little squares of one ply toilet paper, and you have taken a massive growler and you are now fighting with the toilet paper dispenser. And how are you supposed to clean your ass or your front butt with a bunch of one little pieces of paper because they stick to you when you wipe? But now you have to fight with the thing to get another bunch of small pieces of torn paper, and you end up wiping yourself 100 times, and it's so irritating.
It is. Oh my God. Ellen DeGeneres, who I've spoken about recently, she used to have a bit on her stand up about that big industrial wheel, not the little regular
Yeah,
size home, the kind that you use for home, but she called it a cheese wheel.
it's so awful, and it's always the dispenser is at the bottom, and so and you try to pull softly so that it doesn't break off, and inevitably you might get like one and a half pieces out, and then it breaks, and it's like,
Oh my God.
why, who designed this? You know, when you go into toilets and they have busted the dispenser, I swear it's because they got so angry at one piece of toilet paper, a little square coming out that was one ply that's useless, that somebody just got mad and kicked it and busted it up. No, I think
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
I'm
just
laughing.
made the whole pooping experience so upsetting. I can't handle it. I can't handle
Hey,
it.
this is kind of it's adjacent to your topic, but do you know people that do not like to go number two? Look at
Oh
a
yeah,
child
they have to go
in
home.
they have to go home, and like I don't know how you can control that. When nature calls, it calls. But
Mhm.
yeah, I do know people like that. They wait till they get home and they can use their own toilet paper.
Well, I I have gone into toilets and been so pissed off. And then you're just forced to take like twice as long. Oh, I just anyway, let's move past this because I know how much you love Pet Peeves. What is your
Oh God.
last pet peeve?
You guys, Joy sent me a TikTok or Reel or whatever one of those things are of this guy making nachos in his hotel bathroom.
Ah.
She thought it was hilarious. I wanted to hurl whatever my last meal was. It was so gross. And I don't
They're
know, it looks
bathroom
like
nachos.
bathroom nachos, guys. He cut everything up on the counter, not using a cutting
While
board.
he's
Just
sitting
a
on the toilet.
stop. And then he filled up his sink with, I guess
Hot
it was hot
water.
water,
God, he
put
cooked
the
the beef.
the uncooked ground beef in the sink,
Oh my God,
pulls
that
it
was
out,
funny.
and it's some gray, disgusting meat looking thing that I'm sorry, but I do not think it is possible to cook meat in the hot water from a hotel
Well,
faucet.
he did.
Then he sits on the toilet to enjoy his meal, and I
Oh
am
God.
just completely grossed out and told her she's banned from sending me anything like that
No
again.
lettuce
All
and
right.
no poop stories and no hotel bathroom nachos.
No cooking in the friggin' bathroom, okay? All right, so now we're going back outside and just like in the same vein as the cigarette smoke. And I'm surprised I didn't have this on my last the first one we did, but like I said, I have a lot of pet peeves. I cannot stand, and I have been like this for a long time. That's why I can't believe I forgot about it. But when I saw the gardener heard him first, I went, oh, that's right. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, leaf blowers. I cannot take
Mm,
the sound of leaf blowers. And I think
so
it's because
interesting.
I associate it. Now, if people are doing it on their own property and they're blowing the leaves off their driveway, not the same. And I'm not like trying to disparage gardeners, but the ones that work for the city and businesses, all I see is them in this big dust cloud. All I see is a big dust cloud of them moving the
Yeah.
dust from this side of the parking lot to that side of the parking lot and hitting every parked car along the way. And it aggravates me to no end. So I associate just the dirt that they're stirring up and the
Yeah.
sound with this horrible device. I can't stand leaf blowers. I don't like lawnmowers either, but I know they're really serving a purpose. Um, but the sound of the leaf blower, like the
Noise
sound of an,
pollution.
it's yeah. Besides stirring up dust, and then have you ever been driving down the road where the gardener is blowing the leaves off the sidewalk into the road and into your car as you're driving by, just as long as they get it off the property that they're working for? Has it ever happened?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time here because
Okay,
there's lots of
that's
foliage.
that's my pet peeve. That's my
That's
one
a
of
good
my
one.
biggest pet peeves.
That's a good one. Well, I am going to be controversial on this
Uh-oh.
last one of mine. And I actually posted on Facebook once and I got much, so much pushback. But my last one is being late. And I hate being late. And I also hate when other people are late because
Me too.
and I made a comment once where I said that I feel like when people are late and they in turn make you late, that they
They
have
don't
a
respect your time.
blatant disregard for you and a blatant disregard for your time. It's like they're saying,
I
you don't matter and you're not important. And I don't and it made me I have gotten angry at times when people are late. But one of the things I have learned since then is there are reasons why people are late, and a lot of it has to do with people who have ADHD. A lot of times, being late is a part of their ADHD. Sometimes people have acute anxiety or panic or agoraphobia, and being late can be tied to that. Sometimes people have tics and they have routines, OCD that they go through, and so that causes them to be late. So I understand not everybody is being late just because they're trying to disrespect me. But
Oh, so that's the feedback you got, that there were
yes,
legitimate reasons.
exactly.
Okay.
But I will
Yeah.
say there are people who are late because they have poor time management and
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's not something that is of importance to them. But I
And
will
I
say that
think,
being on time or being actually ahead of time and not being late is of great importance to me. Plan better, plan ahead. The internet actually has almost every piece of information that you need. So there's no
mhm,
reason to not be able to plan out what's going to happen. Now,
yeah.
sometimes your car will break down, or sometimes, your animal or your child will get sick, or something happens that throws a wrench into it. And then you have to like adjust accordingly. I understand that that's life. But it's another thing to just fly by the seat of your pants and expect everybody else to accommodate it, including you being late and not making any plans.
hmm No, I totally agree. I like being early. Yeah, I'm more forgiving of someone being late than I am of myself. Like it bugs me. I don't like people waiting on me.
Yeah, and Cheryl and like I said earlier, we worked together and we were both in positions of being in charge of other employees. And so we heard a lot of excuses as to why people couldn't be on time. And we worked in an industry where timeliness was of essence because if a phone line opens at 8 a.m., you have to be there and be logged in and ready to answer the phone at 8 a.m. Now, if you
Yeah, you
work
can't
in a
be walking
job,
into the building. You
right,
can't be walking into the building at 8 o'clock.
right. If you work in a job where the doors open at 8 o'clock, but you may not need to be there until 8:15, then fine. That's a different job. Go get that job if you can't be on time. Don't
Yeah,
get
but
the
see,
job that requires you to be your butt in a seat with a headset on to answer the phone at 8 o'clock because most people know. Most people who can't be on time know they can't be on time. Just like most people who are always on time and very punctual. Listen, one of the things I always tell people is I am punctual to a fault. And people love that because they realize that I am always trustworthy. I can be there. I will always be there it's rare is the day when I'm not on time.
mhm,
And I'm not talking about meeting up for a drink at 5. If I'm 5 minutes late to that, that's not a big deal. It's a drink. But
mhm.
if I tell an employer in an interview or I tell an employee, 8 o'clock sharp, then that's 8 o'clock sharp. That means I'm ready to go at 8 o'clock. That means I've dealt with my breakfast and my lunch and my dinner, my shoes. You notice the priority list. My backpack, my purse, my makeup, my trip to the bathroom, all those things have been dealt with. And I'm ready to go at 8 sharp. I
Yes.
just don't understand like the meeting starts at 8 and people are calling in to the call at 8:15. I just don't understand it.
I don't. I just think it's in some people's DNA. They just
Yeah,
can't.
and I actually link it to their professionalism. Please, somebody reach out to me and tell me that I am headed down the wrong path if you think that this is a huge mistake. Like, I actually consider someone less than professional in their life, in their business, in what they do, when they can't tell that 8:15 is not 8 o'clock.
I,
And
I
let us know because Cheryl's the same way. That's one of
hmm
the things that we actually like. We're very different individuals, but it's our love for punctuality that we actually saw eye to eye on.
yeah.
And at the
And I,
time we met, I had no attention to detail whatsoever. And that was one of the things about Cheryl that I really, really, really valued.
well, I'll tell you. So I worked somewhere where I saw the interviewees coming in, and let's say their interview time was at 1 p.m., let's say, and they're coming in at 1:05. And I would tell the director that was hiring for that position, they were late. To me, that's like a for your interview. There's no you can't be late. You should be a little early. You don't want to be like annoyingly early, but you
Right.
should be early. If I'm hiring and I hear my next interview came in 5 minutes after the time that we had set, that's a black mark against them. Um, so, but he was kind of like, I said around 1, and I'm like, okay, that's your deal.
Mhm. Because if they can't be on time to the interview, they're
Interview.
probably not going to be on time ever to work. And here's the other thing. Again, we have an excess of communication now. We have phone calls, we have text messages, we have, Skype, we have Zoom, we have WhatsApp, we have Snapchat, we have everything. So reach out and just say, "Listen, I got stuck. There's terrible traffic." This actually just happened to my daughter not too long ago. Google Maps turned us around, mapped us to the wrong place. I was following her. She realized, oh my God, I'm going to be late. We had set up a time to meet with a college tour, and it was very upsetting to her and upsetting that
Yeah.
she was going to be late because. But it was one of those things where you put all of
Was
your
that
confidence in technology, and it is not perfect.
no, and it lets you down,
It let
or
us
you get
down,
stuck by a train. I'm
and
listening to a
right.
case where the guy was stuck behind a train. Yeah, so there are unforeseeable things, but in that case, you can redeem yourself, your tardiness by just calling, texting, just say what
Exactly.
happened. But to not say anything and nonchalantly walk in 5 to 10 minutes late or more to your interview, I just like, oh,
So
I would
interesting.
say thank you. I would say thanks, but no thanks if there was no excuse or no call ahead,
Yeah.
you know.
Guys,
Anyway,
if you have pet peeves that you didn't hear in episode 1 or episode 2, write in to murder and everything else at gmail.com and let
I would
us know what they are.
I would love to hear other people's pet
I
peeves.
would love to hear
Love
them
it.
too because the thing that's so interesting is everybody has something that bothers them that's different than someone else. And also,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear if there's someone out there who's just so easygoing that nothing really ruffles their feathers. Could
Oh
you
my God. I
imagine if
don't
that
know.
person, could you imagine if a person like that existed?
I don't know if I'd want to know them. I honestly don't. But you know what's really fascinating to me is that now we've done this twice. And you and I do not have, not once have we had the same, because you guys, we don't go over our lists with each
Hmm.
other. We reveal them to each
Yeah,
other during the recording. And neither one of us has come on here to record with the same pet peeve. I think
that's
that's pretty
right.
incredible.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not as old as you, so maybe when I get older, I'll have more of yours on my list.
Yes. And I'm not as obsessive with my household appliances
That's
as you
right.
are.
That's true, guys. I have to give Cheryl a hard time
Oh,
because at no fault of her own, it just turns out she's a little bit older than me. And when I say little bit, I mean a very little bit.
that's right.
Anyway, Cheryl, we could talk and talk and talk and talk for hours about the things that bother us, our pet peeves.
Hmm.
But I think that would be a crime to our listeners. But you know what else is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
That is a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch managed by Cheryl Yamaguchi. Podcast editing, advertising, and social media managed by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible.com, Amazon Music, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.